Perfect. You're listening to Let's Stay Together, a podcast about Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And today, before we start, I have an announcement this time.
Oh my god.
What could it be? We are quickly approaching the middle of this series. I don't know if people know. They probably know. But like just reading it on like Manga Fox or something, like blind, like what?
Yeah.
So we thought that we would do kind of like a mid-series recap / special episode.
It's gonna be a clip show episode.
Yeah. That's even more work than recording a new episode for me. Like, oh, listen to every single one. That'd be really funny. No, like, I guess, I don't actually know. I haven't thought about it that much, but what I want to do is just, like, a quick summary of everything that's happened and, like, the themes and stuff that we're seeing so far. I'll probably come up with some questions to ask you about things, like I do sometimes. And then, of course, we'll talk about spoilers for what's to come and, like, what's been set up, I think. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we wanted to do is take an opportunity to answer any questions that people might have. So if you want to ask us things about Furuba, more than you already have. Of course, people have already sent us a bunch of things that we've answered. But or, you know, about the podcast or how we make it or about us or whatever, you can send us messages, like DMs on Twitter, Tumblr, or email us and just let us know that it's for this kind of like mid-series special. It's going to come out in like the end of October. So you have we've received fair warning. You've got like a month and a bit. If anything comes to mind, just send it and we will we'll curate them and discuss things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's my plans.
Yeah, at least one of you gotta send us something or it'll be embarrassing. So.
Yeah, I can't go back and like retroactively delete all of this shit, so that's a great call to action. I'm sure people will. Now that I've answered, I think I've replied to all of the asks. Now people, they won't be like, are they ever going to notice me again? Yeah. So anyway, so we're doing that. So get excited for that, first of all. I think it's going to be really interesting, actually. I'm excited. Because, like, we look at these on kind of like a chapter by chapter kind of basis, or like maybe 2 chapters at a time, and sometimes we're like, yeah, this thing, it ties into this other thing, you know, from like chapter 3, and this ties into something from chapter like 103 or whatever. And so we do that sometimes, but I think it'd be nice to just kind of like on the whole, like, you know, we have this theme and it's represented by these things, and like here's overall what happened and where we're going. I think it'll be fun, actually. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Plus it'll be at the end of basically like it's the conclusion of another kind of like arc of the series, which is going to be great. So it'll be like wrapping that up nicely, I think, too. So send us stuff. We'll be recording in October. It's going to be a good time. Yay. Anyway, today we're discussing chapters 54 and 55. We're going to do just our regular summary and then discuss it, and then we'll spoiler discuss it. So I'm shaking things up. This is the 3rd thing we recorded today, so gotta change things up a little bit.
You're like, I'm bored.
No, I'm not bored. My voice is getting a little tired, but that's different. We're also starting a new volume of the like original kind of run. It's in the middle of the collector's edition ones, but we're starting the one with Kisa on it. If you're, we're in volume 10.
A cute little tiger waving on the back.
The tiger wants to shake.
Yeah. Don't do it, she'll bite you.
Yeah, definitely. Chapter 54 opens at a beach. I assume that this is the pink bathing suit that the kids bought for Toru earlier. So Toru wears like a floral print bathing suit. Toru and Momiji splash around in the waves, and Kyo, Yuki, and Haru observe. So this is carrying forward from what we talked about last time, or what happened in the last chapter, which was that Momiji said that they were going to go to, he booked a Hisho vacation for them, but not a secretary vacation, as Shigure imagined. They look back at the house and Toru narrates their arrival the night before. We see them arrive to a grand summer home, even bigger than the previous one. Ghosty figures, our favorite, show Toru in shock for like 3 panels while Haru and Yuki calmly unload the car and Kyo grumps to the side of the group. Ghosty Toru is shocked to find out that there are maids as well who greet her, and it's very charming. Once again, it's more than I deserve, she thinks. I'm so full of gratitude. Haru asks about Shigure, who disappointingly stayed behind to do some work. At least we get to see Hanta-san in all her swimsuit glory, he says, stretching, and Yuki and Kyo are like, don't talk about her like that, in unison. Muiji calls to them, to check out Toru's amazing swimming. And Haru comments that she's a better swimmer than he thought, but doesn't look like she's breathing, which is 100% true. And we see Toru clutching a nearby rock and gasping. Kyo comes over and sasses her, but she ignores him and is like, was I really swimming? I'll show you more swimming. And he's like, hey, you'll get swept away by the current. So he throws like a pool ring over her and drags her over to Momiji and tells him to teach her how to breathe, but she decides that it's fun. And he's like, oh, you think this is fun? I'll give you fun. And then he spins her and she's like, wah. And Momiji says that he wants to turn too. So Kyo ends up like playing with them, fully dressed in the ocean, which is hilarious. He was completely reluctant to do that in the first place, but it's very sweet. Yuki, who's off to the side on the beach, remembers that the hat, baby Toru, and like putting it on her head. Because, of course, last time it was revealed that he was the one who was wearing the hat. He was the boy in the hat. Dun, dun, dun. We see the narration, don't misunderstand, and transition to the past. It's Akito speaking to Yuki as a child. Baby Yuki cries, and Akito, who is also quite young, looks very menacing and says, this world is a cruel, dark place. Your whole life will be lived in that darkness. Hope, possibility, those concepts don't apply to you. Your fate is to stay on that pitch-dark road until you die. Don't get any ideas or think. And the memory fades. Haru asks if the sun is getting to Yuki, and he puts his hand on his forehead. You don't look so good. Or have your feelings made you dizzy? Toru calls to him, and Yuki is like, I'm fine, I just got distracted. It's a bad habit. I shouldn't cause Hana-san to worry unnecessarily. That's a good attitude, Haru says, and Yuki's like, thanks. Kyo arrives, drenched from the ocean. And Haru's like, huh, getting out already? And he's like, I didn't want to go in the first place, of course. But Haru drags him back into the water and challenges him to a contest. Kyo's like, let go, you stupid idiot. You're trying to kill me? Yuki says he gets in the water and says it's pretty cold. But he does take the time to compliment Toru's bathing suit. And he says that she looks cute. And she freaks out, of course. And is like, oh, it's all thanks to you guys buying it for me. Which is very charming. And Momiji is like, Toru always looks cute from, I don't know, the other side of the triangle of this conversation they're having in the ocean.
From his cozy inner tube.
Yes, floating on an inner tube. Or inter tube.
Outer tube.
Outer tube. Toru says that this is a really wonderful place and wishes that everybody else could come too. And Luigi is like, not to worry. I sent letters to Hari and Aya and Richan and Kisa and Hiro and Kagero telling them to come. And Yuki looks kind of a little bit dead inside and is like, even Nissan? That's almost everyone, all right? But Toru is, of course, excited, and that's amazing, and hopes that everyone comes. She smiles, and Yuki smiles too. Haru calls to Yuki and asks if he wants to compete with them. He says if not, Kyo won't get into it. Like, hell I will. I'm not that simple, Kyo says, and Yuki's like, maybe I will join. And then Kyo is like, there's no way I'm gonna lose, and, like, whips off his shirt. I'm gonna kick your ass, he says. See, Yuki, what I tell ya, Haru says from the side. Toru tries to get them not to push themselves too hard. And Momiji says it would be nice if they just swam like normal people, and we see Momiji and Toru smiling. We cut away to Kisa and Hiro, and Hiro, of course, is grumping about the letters that they've received from Momiji saying, why would I want to go on vacation with those guys? And what's he acting so giddy about? He is in high school, isn't he now? I don't know if I should be offended or feel sorry for him. And what's with the rabbit stationery? Does he think we're in kindergarten? But the rabbit stationery is adorable, and Hiro should be chill. Hiro-chan, Kisa says, I want to go. And Hiro is like, let's go, and crumples up the paper in his fist, which is amazing. She says she'll go talk to her mom, and Hiro is all grumpy, thinking, stupid woman, always stealing our alone time. He looks out of the window and spies a woman passing. I don't know, can I say that that's Rin? Yeah, we saw her last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going by fashion sense alone, I think we can say it's Rin.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, completely alone in the woods, long hair and a dress is probably Rin. So looks out of the window and sees Rin passing. Then we cut away elsewhere. I think they're maybe on the main estate. I don't know. It's hard to tell. They're somewhere in a Sohma place because they're little kids, of course. But we cut away to Akito and Shigure together. And we haven't seen Akito for a long time, so I'm excited about this. But I'll be heading over soon myself, Shigure says. I guess I won't be seeing you for a while. Try not to make yourself sick, Akito-san. Akito, who is sitting at a table, kind of holding his head with his hand.
It's like Akito who is slumped over a table. Let's be accurate.
Slumped over a table. I said flopped a lot of times in the last episode, so I was trying to change up my vocabulary. Yeah. Akito, who is slumped over a table, kind of looks up grumpily and says, very funny, seeing as how sick I'm feeling already. Shigure, who has his creepy Shigure face on, looks over. Akito says, stupid summer, I hate it. It's unbearably hot and makes everyone act so damn foolish. I don't feel well. My head hurts. Hattori. Call Hattori for me. Hattori has so many things on his plate. I feel bad calling him so often, Shigure says. What do I care? Akito says. Why should I have to worry about such things? He lives for me, so he should serve me. Even so, I should think, Shigure says. He looks out the window and he sees Hattori walking with a woman, and he smile and laugh. Hey, Akito says, what do you mean vacation? Stupid people and ugly women making merry? It's so irritating. They're getting overconfident. Fools. They think they understand everything. Perhaps, Akito says, looking down, menace in his eyes. I shall have to teach them a lesson. Shigure smiles, also a menacing smile. They're both looking very menacing in this scene, and you can see that both their faces are kind of in shadow. What are you smiling about? Akito says as he leaves. Is something wrong? Do you have a problem with what I say? Akito touches Shigure's face. Problem? My dear Akito-san, I would never consider questioning your motives, Shigure says. Rather, I was thinking that perhaps you should come to the summer home with me. And he pulls Akito a bit closer. Akito's knee is like kind of up on his lap, it looks like. Mm-hmm. If you want to teach them a lesson, that is. We'll cut away from the den of scariness back to the beach house where Yuki has fallen ill and he's laying on the couch. He has a little fever. So, of course, everyone is worried about him. It turns out that Yuki came in first in the contest, despite all of Kyo's efforts, and the shot caused Kyo to go to bed early out of spite.
It's probably because Kyo was wearing, like, blue jeans
Pants?
in the ocean while trying to swim.
Probably. Yeah, if he was wearing a bathing suit like a normal person, then it wouldn't be like that. Michi suggests that maybe he overexerted himself, too. But Haru asks Yuki if it's okay that he goes to take a bath, and Yuki's kind of like, what? Like, go ahead, you don't have to ask me. Haru's like, I thought you might get lonely. Yuki's like, go now! Yuki apologizes for making everyone worry, and he thinks the fever will go down soon. He asks if they're going to the beach tomorrow, and Momiji says they're going on a forest expedition tomorrow. We have to put sugar on the trees and catch stag beetles. They say that Kanuki trees are good for that. I see, Kanuki is it, Toru says. And then Momiji and Toru both look up and wonder, I wonder what kind of tree a Kanuki tree is. And Momiji's like, I wonder. It's like they never spend any time in nature. Like, I don't know. I don't know what kind of tree a Kanuki tree is, though, either.
I guess their research didn't get very far.
No. Well, Momiji knows where to look now. He just doesn't know anything about trees. Like, he read the insect book last time, but he didn't know anything about what the tree is supposed to look like. He's like, I bet it's a tree with acorns. And Toru's like, I see acorns. I've never seen acorns on a tree before. I always see them on the ground. And Momiji is like, yeah, I never see them either. And he kind of, like, carries on. Yuki relaxes and smiles. Momiji says he'll go get a book and says to take care of Yuki. Momiji walks off and Toru sits in front of Yuki, who's still laying on the couch, and Yuki gently tugs her hair. There's something I want to tell you, he says. I think there's something I should tell you someday. Don't misunderstand, he imagines, Akito's words from before. It's nothing like that. Now I can think that there's more to life than just darkness. Now I believe that it's not all just a misunderstanding. When the time comes, if you would listen, I'd be happy. I'd have to open that tightly closed lid, Yuki says. Toru looks concerned, but she doesn't really reply. I still don't know what he's trying to say, she thinks. But it's certain that something inside Yuki-kun is beginning to move. Open the lid, she wonders. I have to open the tightly closed lid, she thinks, and she imagines her mother, her eyes open wide. Toru! Momiji says, having returned with a book, and kind of freaks her out, of course, because she was lost in her thoughts. And then they exchange apologies. She just says that she got lost in thought, and then thinks, I wonder, maybe the summer heat is making me dizzy too. We see Kyo lying in bed as well, looking contemplative. I hope not, Toru thinks / narrates. The summer vacation has only just begun. And then we see that Haru has returned, and he asks if they found out how to catch bugs yet, and they're like, it's not that easy, which is very funny. That's the end of the chapter. This whole, bug catching adventure seems like it's harder than anyone originally planned or understood.
Maybe they should have just gone to the department store.
Yeah, really. Just paid their 3,000 yen for a male whatever beetle.
Yeah.
It's less than $10 for the beetle of your choice. Why would you go to the woods? Chapter 55, the cover is also... We talked about some of the cover images for these chapters recently. I feel like they're getting more and more detailed. Like, sometimes it's just a little sketch, but this one is a drawing of Toru with her mother, which is very sweet. Mm-hmm. This chapter opens with Kisa running to greet Toru after they arrive, and Hiro's like, sheesh, we only just got here, as they, hug and hearts fly everywhere. Mm-hmm. Jilted again, eh? Haru asks. Jilted, Momiji says, and he's like, I'm tired from being in the car all day. Just show me to my room. The rooms are divided into wings, and Toru is in her own wing, and all the boys are in another wing or something. So there's a significant amount of rooms in this house. Momiji, bubbly, says that Hiro should come and share a room with one of them, and that Kisa can stay in Toru's room. And Hiro's like, stop deciding things on your own. There's no way I'm sharing a room with anyone. You won't share a room unless it's with Kisa. How precious, Haru says. And he's like, I never said that, blushing. He wonders why he has to share. He's like, you think that you're just because you're all older that you can stick me in whatever room you want? Toru's like, in that case. And he says, stay quiet, stupid woman. Of course, like an asshole. Kisa tries to get him to calm down, and Yuki arrives. Haru is like, I see, 5 minutes later, and says, in that case, Yuki and I will share a room. And Yuki's like, huh? One problem solved. Solved, Momiji says. Yuki's like, what are you talking about? And Toru thinks again, I have to open the tightly closed lid. There's a lot of lid talk.
Yep.
Okay, the rooms have been decided, Momiji says. Toru, and Momiji also says that Toru should show Kisa to her room. And they show Hiro to his room. Hiro, you're losing points with that attitude, Haru chastises him. Every time you get irritated, Kisa gets nervous. How about toning it down? Hiro imagines Rin and says, I don't think it's any of your business, Haruni, and then stomps off, leaving Haru and Yuki to ghostily stare after him. He's young, Haru says, and Yuki's like, but you're young too. A young old man. I know, but I don't like it. Seeing them get along so well, Hiro thinks. It really irritates me. We see Toru showing Kisa their room, which is like a giant room with a giant bed, of course. Kisa tries to apologize for Hiro, and she's about to apologize, and then Toru's like, yes, what is it? And kind of like interrupts her. Kisa doesn't say anything, and then Toru's like, oh, are you feeling sick? Should we get some medicine? And Kisa's like, no, I'm not sick. I'm fine. And she smiles. Kisa notices the photo of Toru's mother that she set up on the desk that's beside the bed and asks about her, and Toru says, oh yes, that's her. Kisa asks if she always has the photo, and Toru says, yes, we're always together. And they smile. Out in the woods, a bug hunting. Momiji leads the way as if he knows what he's doing. Hiro wonders what on earth they're doing in a forest, and they say they're making preparations to catch stag beetles. And Hiro's like, is that supposed to be fun? And Toru's like, yes, which is great. If you want stag beetles so much, why not just buy some, he thinks grumpily. Momiji announces that he's found the right type of tree. Kisa says she doesn't see any stag beetles. Of course, Momiji explains they have to leave sugar on the tree to catch them. They'll come back the next day to find them on the tree, eating the delicious sugar tomorrow morning. Toru rummages in her bag for the sugar water to put on the tree, and then drops the pocketbook that Hiro stole from her earlier, the one that has her mother's photo in it. There's a little, chibi reenactment, I guess, of him pulling it away from her like an asshole. Kisa paints the sugar on the tree. Momiji goes off looking for more trees, and of course it's dangerous. Stupid woman. Toru is like, yes, because she's recognized that that's what he calls her. He hands her the pocketbook and is like, this is yours, isn't it? There's a panel of ghosty silence, and then she freaks out and is like, oh, Mom, how did you get over there? Teleportation? And Hiro is like, you dropped it. Thank you very much, Toru says, freaking out a little bit. Thank goodness I would have left her behind. Why do you walk around with a picture only of your mother? Hiro asks. You've lost both your parents, right? You mean you don't have one of your father? I mean, whenever you say anything, it's always Mom, Mom. It's like that's all that you say. It's a pretty severe mother complex, he says, holding out his hand in his classic sassy pose. Don't you ever think about anything else? Toru smiles an awkward smile. We can see kind of like a dark texture creeping over, kind of like the back of her head, coming from behind her. That is, she says, and then she looks down, saddened, I think, kind of despondent. That is... Kisa takes notice. Toru suddenly is like, and then cuts off that conversation and just kind of makes a complete 180 in her expression. She says she's worried about Momiji, so she takes off to look for him. Hiro wonders what could be wrong with her, and Kisa, after Toru leaves, says that he shouldn't say things like that. He's like what? I don't think it's a big deal. She seemed fine. Kisa says, how do you know she was fine? You don't know what she's holding on to in the bottom of her heart. You've never felt it. You shouldn't say it's not a big deal. You shouldn't assume things like that. Hiro looks quite taken aback, and he's like, why do I have to care about her feelings? Why should I have to worry about that? Kisa wonders, why did Hiro come? Did you come here to cause trouble for One-chan, she says, while she cries. Kisa turns and runs off, and Hiro slumps to the ground, gloomy. Why did it have to turn out this way? He wonders. It's like, 'cause you were being an asshole. I thought that coming here would make Kisa happy, that's why. But then I go and make her cry. I'm so stupid. I really am losing points. I'm a no-good, hopeless little brat. Brat. Then we see Kisa run over to Toru and kind of grab her from behind, still crying. Toru asks what's the matter. She says it's nothing, and he continues to think, I haven't grown up at all, and whenever I'm faced with something I don't like, I take it out on other people. You don't know, you shouldn't assume things like that, he imagines Kisa saying. We see Hiro looking down and away, and he thinks, just like I'm hiding feelings in my heart. And we see like a memory of Kisa and Hiro together in the hospital, and like vignetted in this panel. I'm sure that she is too, he thinks, feeling she hasn't shared with anyone in the bottom of her heart. I guess it's too late to think about that now, he thinks. We cut away to later. It turns out that Kisa and Hiro didn't say a word to dinner and they're already in bed. Yuki asks if they had a fight. Toru says we don't really know what happened. Haru says it's a waste of effort for a third party to interfere in your lover's quarrel. Best to leave them alone. And Yuki's like, I don't know if you're being kind or cold. Toru looks contemplative, and then we see the pocketbook again. We cut to later that night. We see Kisa in bed, the stars kind of out. It looks like it's like 2 a.m. or something. 1 a.m., 1:30 maybe, on the clock. Toru's sitting outside on the porch. She holds her knees close to her, and we can see there's a photo of her mother on her lap. She looks up at the sky and wonders why. Like she thinks about what Hiro said, why. And looks down at the photo of her mother. She thinks. We see her mother crying, incense burning, people in formal attire. We see like just a little bit of that, the curtain that we've talked about before. Mm-hmm. So more funeral imagery. Also the incense, of course, too. 2 toothbrushes together in a cup. And then we see Toru standing alone in an empty apartment, looking down, wearing her high school uniform. Have we seen this scene before?
I think we might have.
I think we might have too.
I think like when it's talking about like no one from her dad's side of the family wanted to take her in.
Yeah.
And like right before her grandpa came to get her.
Right.
I can't remember which chapter it's in, but I think I remember like that scene, and then like the next one was her grandpa talking to her.
Maybe it was the one where she went home, but then Kyo and Yuki came to pick her up or something. Mm-hmm. I forget. That would be the only time. I don't think we've seen her family since then, so.
Yeah. I know there's been like conversation about like the empty apartment and everything, and I think we saw that image.
It could be from like the one where they go visit Kyoko's grave as well. I forget.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. But yeah, I think pretty sure we've seen the scene of this before. So this is, of course, like the empty apartment after Toru's mother passed away. Mm-hmm. She remembers what Yuki said. I have to open. And then she leans down. She kind of like curls up tighter on the photo. All right. It's all right. It's all right. We're always together, she imagines. I think her mother's saying. You can kind of see the speech bubble. The speech bubbles that sound that's making that sound, it kind of like fades toward the end of the sentence, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. She clutches the photo tight, and you can also see that she's like the photo of her mother smiling also kind of like there's a texture overlaid, like it's fading. Toru looks down, also looking deeply saddened. There's like, I don't know how to describe this very well. It's the way that she looked before, like a couple of pages ago. Mm-hmm. Depressed. She looks depressed. I'll put a stamp on that, because it's like, it's beyond, like, just being sad or dejected. I mean, it's, like, it's another one of those, like, expressions that's very difficult to describe, but this is the first time we've really seen this expression from her, I think. Mm-hmm. We see a final scene of her out on the porch, looking down at the photo again, and then we transition away. The next morning, Kisa stands outside of Hiro's room, and she's about to knock on the door, but he opens it and slams it on her face accidentally. He apologizes. I didn't realize that she was there. Of course, Kisa says, I'm sorry too. Yesterday, maybe I shouldn't have talked the way that I did either. And so they both apologize to each other, which is very sweet. Hiro blushes and says, me too. I'm the one who should be sorry, and gently caresses her head. I'm sorry, Kisa. I have to become a man who can make you happy, he thinks. We transition to outside later, and Toru is super excited to go, and super excited to find out that there are stag beetles on the tree that they've prepared. There's a couple on the tree. Kisa says they're so cool, and Momiji's like, I know, aren't they? Hiro thinks that somehow that woman seems more cheerful than usual this morning. Was I thinking too hard yesterday, he wonders? It might be that her natural stupidity means that her heart is extremely deep. And then he's like, no, wait, I shouldn't assume. Well, Toru and Kisa deal with the tree. Hiro-san, Toru says, look, a super special stag beetle, and she, like, demonstrates it for him. And Hiro is like, that's great. And she's like, yes! And second, that there might not be anything inside her, he says. Or he thinks. Kyo randomly appears out of the woods, and Momiji, of course, is like, oh, it's Kyo, good morning, you're running super early. Kyo is like, you guys are up early yourself. And Toru greets him cheerfully and is like, I have a stag beetle. And Kyo is like, moron, that's a kabuto beetle. Which I guess is different. I wouldn't know. It's like bug eyes first right in. I mean, Kyo looks suspiciously over at Hiro and bonks him on the back of the head for once. Hiro is like, hey, what'd you do that for? It hurts. Kyo asks, you haven't done anything to Toru, have you? Hiro's like, what's this? First you hit me, then you make false accusations? Do you have proof that puts me in question? Of course. Kyo is like, I don't know why, but she's not as cheerful. And Hiro looks genuinely surprised. Kyo walks away and bonks Toru on the head as she looks through the encyclopedia. No, Hiro thinks, I'm sure even she has them, and we see an image of a box with the lid kind of shut tight. And that's the end of chapter 55.
By the way, for the record, stag beetles are the pincer Pokemon, and kabuto beetles are the Heracross Pokemon.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Oof. Guys, we finally made it. We finally fucking made it to the fucking beach arc. Is everyone excited? I am.
At the beach.
Oh my god! Summer's kind of winding down here in North America, but it's gonna be summer till November on Let's Stay Together.
Well, it's freaking hot enough.
Maybe for you. For me, it's like cooling down. I wore a jean jacket the other day. It was probably too warm to wear a jean jacket, but I don't care because I love fall so much. I mean, I love the endless summer that we're going to have on this podcast, though. So wonderful. I'm just gonna rest my vocal cords for a minute. Do you want to start with the discussion of these two chapters?
I like how we had in the last chapters we talked about, we had Kyo and Toru talking about swimming at Cosmo's house, and she was talking about like, I just have to remember to do the breathing, and so like when they're like, oh, she's swimming so fast, but I'm not sure she's breathing. Kyo's just like sighed and already gone over because he already knows what's going on.
It was wonderful. It's an immediate payoff on some foreshadowing. I like how she's like, oh, was I swimming? Let me show you more swimming. And he's like, no, you'll die.
I think it's cute how he winds up like just like playing with Toru and Momiji in the water. Like
he didn't want to get in at all.
Yeah, like he's dragging her over, telling Momiji to teach her how to swim, but then he like spins her in the inner tube, and then he's like, I want to go, and he's like, oh yeah, you want to go, and then spins her too, apparently. And then...
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
They're all
it's
just
very
like
sweet.
hanging out in the water for a bit.
Mm-hmm. And then he gets out, and then Haru drags him back in, which is also great. We have some typical Yuki and Kyo debating, where Haru is like, if you say you'll do this competition, then Yuki will do it, or well, then Kyo will do it. And Yuki's like, all right, whatever. And then Kyo is like, challenge accepted, and like strips off his shirt. Which is pretty great.
I think it's cute that like Yuki doesn't even get that mad about Momiji inviting Ayame.
No, he's just kind of like, really, everybody?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like they're maybe on slightly better terms.
I think they understand each other better after that time that he went and visited the shop.
Yeah. And the conversation they had about creating things.
Right. Yeah, the garden scene. Where Ayame turns into a snake, and then they have a heartfelt discussion. Yeah. And then he embroiders, like, I live for my big brother on his jacket. Yeah. Yes. I remember, like it was yesterday.
We saw Baby Akito in the flashback. Have we seen Baby Akito yet?
You know what? I don't think so. No. Actually, I'm pretty sure we haven't yet.
He's adorable and just as menacing. Yes.
I was... yeah, very menacing,
yeah.
Actually. That face is really, really piercing. When Akito's being really sassy about... or, like, not being sassy. When Akito is telling Yuki that... he'll always have to live in darkness without hope and whatever.
Yeah, especially with how like young Akito is in that scene. I mean, that's
I know, it's also crazy to me.
Yeah, some dark shit from a small child.
Yeah, I don't know. Last time when we were reading the stuff with Kyo's dad, he's like, the head of the family won't be happy about this. I immediately imagined like when we were talking about Ayame's hair, and the teacher is like, I'm going to call the head of the family, and we had discussed, I think in the spoilers, but now I think it's okay to say, because like we just had this reveal about Yuki being young, or like Akito being young, but I was like, what is he going to do, call like 6-year-old Akito or whatever? So when he said that, I imagined that. Anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, because I think Akito's age has been fairly vague until now, and it's still not totally clear, but it's obvious that he's not a whole lot older than Yuki, given how close in age they look in this flashback.
Also, probably not a whole lot younger than, like, Shigure or Ayame.
Mm-hmm. Like, he obviously seems to be an adult. Like, not the same age as our main gang, but it shows that not that much older.
It seems like that, yes.
Mm-hmm. Should we talk about the Shigure and Akito scene?
Sure. Let's just get into the going back into the Lion's Den. Every time there's a scene between the two of them, I'm just like, when we leave, I'm like, oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
There's something about it that, like, I know. I mean, we've read this before, but still, I'm like, it just gives me the shivers every time, which is good. I mean, you know.
And so they are always like so shadowed when they're in the scenes together. Like, part of it is obviously that Akito lived shut in a room most of his life, but
yes, sure seems like it.
But also just like the shadows on their faces and everything every time they're in a scene together.
Yeah, and now this one, of course, has like the hint of romance. I think, just like I feel like what we saw with Rin last time. So now, of course, Shigure is the one in control, manipulating Akito into doing whatever he wants.
Yeah,
trying to at least.
Yeah, I think we can stamp that last scene with a little bit sexy.
I think so. Like disturbingly sexy. Yeah. Yes. It's dangerously sexy. Yeah. I made myself laugh. Anyway. Yeah, like Shigure, Akito's about to leave. Their whole like relationship is like a really dramatic. This whole scene is like a super dramatic like noir movie for them or something, where it's like Akito's about to leave and he's like, maybe I'll teach them a lesson, and then he's like, do you have a problem with what I say? And Shigure is like, problem? My dear Akito-san, I would never consider questioning your motives. Rather, I was thinking that perhaps you should come to the summer home with me. If you want to teach them a lesson, that is. It's, like, super dramatic.
Yeah.
And also, Shigure is, like, pulling Akito up onto his lap, for sure.
Yeah.
You can see Akito's foot in the air above the speech bubble. Akito was like, stupid people and ugly women making merry. It's so irritating. Yeah. It's also very interesting. So grumpy. So Akito starts off being all like pouty and grumpy. It's really funny to see Akito in this position where Akito's basically like pouting when this is someone who so many people are so afraid of, who can be so dangerous. Pouty and like
petty.
Yeah, petty. That's a good way to describe it. But then at the same time also trying to, and this like Shigure is trying to seduce Akito as well.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of interesting. Someone who normally just strikes terror into most other people in the series, Shigure is trying to like come on to, which is interesting.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like for all the like for how pathetic Akito kind of is in this scene, that panel where he's like, perhaps I have to teach them a lesson with that face. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, it's bone chilling.
Yeah.
That's for sure. The whole thing is really, even the fact that they're like this kind of dark romance is unfurling here too is also scary. Like it's just added on top of it, you know. It's like doesn't make Akito any less threatening. Yeah, their relationship seems to be quite unhealthy.
Yeah.
Just to say the least.
It's like she said about every character relationship in the series.
Everybody except for Kyo and Toru, okay? Yeah. That could certainly be said for many people in the series. I'm just looking back at the, that perhaps I'll have to teach them a lesson. Like, Akito's face is super shadowed. You see the, like, gleam in Akito's eyes.
Yeah.
Akito's always pictured with this, like, coat that's kind of slumped, like, half off.
Yeah.
Sort of, like, disheveled. It adds this unstable air, I think, that Takaya is trying to put across with Akito.
Yeah.
I mean, also just, like, bouncing back and forth between, you know, pouty and trying to be in control and then, you know, I don't know. It's very interesting. One little scene.
Yep.
I'm like, Shigure, please come to the beach house. I can't have this anymore.
Yeah. I think that's all I have for the first chapter.
Yeah, I guess I was just like, what about Yuki in the lid? That's the next one.
Well, I guess he talks about it a bit. It just becomes more of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, he's already been kind of foreshadowing it a lot, so it doesn't seem out of the ordinary. I think the other thing that's another not like a big thing to note, but I love how when Tora arrives at the house, she's like starstruck and is like, the house is so big, the rooms are so big, and like, there's even maids. I don't deserve all of this, and yeah.
Yeah, like the three panels of her being like, wah, and like each one.
Yeah, it's so good. She's got her like shocked kind of ghosty face in every single one. It's like, this is amazing. It made me really happy. The Sohmas do, I mean, they're ballin', so
Yeah.
This is yet another large house, kind of isolated large house that we've seen that they, I guess, can rent. I don't know. Momiji seems to be able to afford all of this with his allowance money or whatever, so.
He's got like a piggy bank, but he breaks it and it's just like full of $100 bills.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I've been saving. This is what everyone gets for allowance, right?
Yeah, totally. He brings like an envelope stuffed with cash to pay
Yeah.
at all these places. And then like a bunch of random change. He's like, is this enough?
He sidles up to the bar. He's like, put it on my tab. Sohma tab.
He's like, the Sohma tab is just for paying for damage, not for paying for drinks.
Yeah. I also love the continued thing of them like reading books to figure out how to catch stag beetles.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen this a couple of times. Like, there's these really cute, like, background continuity things. This is one of them. So, like, in the last episode of ours, in the last chapter, Momiji was like, how do you catch stag beetles? And they were looking at a book. And then he said also, like, I've never caught them anywhere but a mall. And then Hiro's like, why don't you just buy them?
Yeah.
And they're reading the book again in the first chapter that we read, chapter 54. Trying to find another book to figure out which trees are good, which trees are the right trees. And Miji's like, this is the right tree.
Hey, it paid off. They got stag beetles in the end. Or at least
Well,
Kabuto beetles.
Kabuto beetles. Yeah, exactly. I bet you could still make those fight or whatever.
Yeah.
You could still evolve them.
I think they fight each other in the lore.
I believe that. Yeah, okay. I think that's probably everything for that chapter. Because the next one is when Hiro and Kisa come, right?
Yeah.
So Hiro comes to shake things up.
Yeah.
Disturb the peace with his little shit behavior.
Hiro comes to start on his little character arc.
You're right. I mean, I kind of feel like it's a continuation, but this is like, he's like finally connecting the dots. Like, it's like you can see it happening, or he's like, I shouldn't do this thing. I'm like that too. I have things inside of me. I have thoughts that I keep deep inside. Probably other people do too. And I should be sensitive. In summary.
Anyway, yes. So Hiro arrives, and he's still a brat.
Yes, he's the same as he always is. It's kind of interesting that, back again, Takaya brings back the pocketbook from earlier. I guess maybe so that he can comment on it because he knows.
Yeah. What's funny with that scene is, like, I feel like when he started, he wasn't even actually trying to be a dick in that scene. Like, he was being earlier, but...
Yeah, when he first got there, he was kind of like, meh, but, and he's kind of, it seems like he's, like, genuinely asking.
Yeah, like, he gives her the notebook back, like, he's like, this is yours, right? Which is, you know, obviously a contrast to when he stole it.
Yes.
But, yeah, like, his face, like, he looks genuinely, like, puzzled, like, when he's like asking her at the start, and then he starts to get a little sassy, but
I mean, I feel like it's it's insensitive, but
it's like more blunt than I'm being a jerk to be a jerk. Like,
while Toru's just left to be like, I'm gonna go talk to Momiji now. Like,
I think it's sad, but kind of a cute thing. Like, he doesn't realize that what he said got to her, but both Kisa and Kyo pick up on the fact that she's a little bit off.
Yeah, after that.
After what he said.
He's like, she's even more cheerful than normal. Like, I guess she really is dumb, but really, she's just trying even harder to cover up what she's thinking about or feeling. Which Kyo and Kisa, of course, pick up on.
Yeah.
I think Kyo because he knows Toru really well, and Kisa because she's just an empathetic person.
Yeah.
A little more emotionally mature than Hiro is, so... Yeah, Hiro is the real catalyst of this chapter for Toru. This is the first time we've seen Toru really get a real crack in her shell.
Yeah, like that whole scene at night, like that's like she's obviously going through a little emotional crisis here, which we don't really see.
And you think that we would, because, you know, I don't know, losing your mother is so intense, and of course she was so deeply connected to her.
Yeah. Right? Like, we see her react emotionally to things and, like, you know, be sad or whatever, but, like, there's, like, her face, like you were saying, we haven't really seen a face like that before. Like, her expression in that scene is just, it's something. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to even describe, but it's obviously some kind of, like, deep emotional crisis that she's, like, obviously hasn't really confronted before.
I mean, it reminds me of the only close faces that I can think of, like expressions that I can think of are like Kyo's from the last chapter. Like she shows flashback of him being super depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe like, I don't know, when I was doing the summary, what I was going to say was that it reminds me of like Kisa's mom's expression or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's beyond that. I mean, I think it's like...
Yeah, it's kind of a different emotion too.
Yeah.
And like the one scene where it's got like that speech bubble that's just like a ... and an exclamation mark.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of like clutches the picture to herself. It's almost like she goes through like a little like mini panic attack there for a minute.
It seems like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different expressions, I think, in that one scene. This is the one where she's up at night.
Yeah, and it's like after a whole bunch of like imagery like flashed through her head, and then it's just kind of like struck her all at once for a second there. And
yeah, like she's looking up at the sky. She looks kind of like calm, like normal, and she looks down at the photo, and then we see this whole series of her memories, like you said, memories of her mom crying. I mean, her mom in a black dress. I think it's like her dad's funeral, and then we see, like I said, incense, and the like curtain, the other funeral imagery. There's also a shot of people's like feet. They kind of look like these shoes that look kind of like shoes you'd give like a little girl. Like maybe it's her dad's funeral when she was...
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I think it might be like her and her grandpa outside of the apartment. Because it looks like it's like it looks like it's on a threshold. They're at a threshold.
It does look like a threshold, that's for sure. I don't know, but then it like, is it a different time though? Because in the next scene is the one where she's wearing her school uniform and she's... Maybe it is. Maybe it's after the funeral or something. Like she's wearing like leggings or something, and then it's like maybe when she left the apartment or something when she's in her school uniform.
Maybe.
I think you're supposed to wear your school uniform to funerals if you're in high school. I feel like I read when we were reading about funerals before. So anyway, I don't know, but it's people wearing formal attire, and then the 2 toothbrushes, and then she clutches the kind of photo closer and closer. You see, like, yeah, her eyes are super wide, like she's kind of panicked, like you just said. The one where it's like ... and exclamation point. And then that really despondent, kind of depressed expression.
Yeah.
I think these are some deep feelings that we haven't seen her express before.
Yeah.
And Hiro's the one who's kind of brought them out.
Yeah, and they seem to have like caught her off guard. Like when he first asked the question, she like starts to respond and then realizes she doesn't...
She doesn't really
like,
have an answer that she can
so,
say. Yeah. Or she has an answer, but she doesn't want to say.
Yeah.
Or there's something about it that's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so she just avoids the situation. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And it's true, we never hear about her dad that much. Like, I think in some flashbacks, Kyoko's probably talked about him. They talked about how she speaks formally like her dad, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen a photo of him yet or anything like that. So Hiro's there to shake things up.
Yep.
We see a new... You're right that we've seen Toru be, like, sad before, but not this way.
Yeah. We got another head tap from Kyo.
Most importantly.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I should put that in my notes.
We also had, I think another interesting thing is, like, we have a couple of, like, Hiro, like, seeing Rin and thinking about Rin
right.
a couple of times, and, like, we've seen them interact once before, but...
Yeah, but he keeps thinking about her, and he's like, Haru, you don't want to talk, or whatever. Like, we know that Haru and Rin have a relationship, so something about what Haru did or said is, like, throwing him off as well. Or, like, I don't know, he's upset about it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really clear. Even having read this before, I'm like, what's your deal? Like, I don't... I mean, I don't know, he's thinking about Rin a lot recently, but why was he so annoyed with Haru? Like, what is it that he thinks? Did Haru do something? Or, like, I don't know, but yeah, he's thinking about her a lot. Their relationship is interesting. We haven't seen that much. I mean, he was, like, sort of nice to her, as we pointed out. But, yeah, we haven't seen much more of them together, so...
Yeah. But there's obviously some kind of...
Something's on his mind.
Yeah, some kind of connection or thought there, so...
And then, I mean, it's interesting that also Hiro, he thought about the time with Kisa again. Like, he's like, feelings that I'm keeping in my heart. Like, I kind of felt like that was resolved, but I guess it's not. Like, his actual feelings for Kisa haven't really been resolved yet. It's not like he told her how he feels about her, like, directly or whatever.
Yeah. And I think it's, like, still the guilt over...
Yeah.
Like, what Akito did, because I don't think he's talked about that to anyone. I think the only reason we know about it is because Satori told Shigure.
Right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. He hasn't told anybody.
And like we had the thing where Kisa doesn't know why Akito got mad at her, so
Right.
like he hasn't quote unquote confessed that it was quote unquote his fault.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes, because it's not.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. But he hasn't let her in on why it
Yeah.
happened or whatever. What Akito's motivation was.
Yeah.
And then of course we have Yuki. Should we talk about Yuki? So we had the scene also of Yuki laying on the couch, and he like tugs Toru's hair, which is first of all really adorable.
Yeah.
And he says this some more cryptic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what he says is, "There's something I want to tell you. I think there's something I should tell you someday. It's nothing like that. Now I can think that there's more to life than just darkness. Now I believe that it's not all just a misunderstanding. I have to open the tightly closed lid when the time comes. If you would listen, I'd be happy." Mm-hmm. And Toru was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Essentially, like. So it's this really cryptic thing that he says, which is probably, like, I don't know, referring to his feelings, and
Mm-hmm.
it's also tied in with this, like, memory or, like, flashback that he has of Akito telling him that he has nothing, nothing to hope for, nothing worth, living, that he'll always live in darkness,
Mm-hmm.
That we saw at the beginning of the chapter. And then it's interesting that Toru kind of, I don't know, it doesn't seem like she understands what he's talking about, but then yet she's, like, she keeps thinking about what he said, like, the tightly closed lid, I have to open the tightly closed lid, like, it's... like an understanding that it's something that's deep inside
Mm-hmm.
of Yuki, and maybe that, I don't know. It seems like she's latched onto that as well.
Yeah, and like we see like the image of her mother there, and then she's thinking about the "I have to open" phrase again when she's having her little
mini freak out.
Yeah.
Her like potential panic attack.
Yeah.
Being depressed situation, staying
Mm-hmm.
up, insomnia.
Yeah.
And then we also see the imagery of the box at the end of the chapter too, which I think is related to that. So a lot of lid talk, as I said.
Yep. Someday we'll have an episode with Lid-san and Hat-san.
Lid-san at lids. I mean, I was just trying to think if there's any kind of like overall, again, like an overall connecting. Like this is the beginning of a. They haven't left the beach yet, so there's more to come at the beach. So this is just setting up some things about the beach.
The theme is that everyone's got emotions deep inside that they're not totally dealing with.
They have to open the tightly closed lid. Everybody, open your tightly closed lids. Yeah, I think you're right. It's just like everyone has, there's like an element of a theme of, being empathetic for other people and recognizing that people are going to have deep motivations and feelings that they're not sharing with you, and that even if they seem okay on the outside, they might not be, and stuff like that.
Isn't there like a really long German word or something that means like the sudden realization that everyone around you has a like full inner life that you're not aware of or something?
I feel like there is.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. On a child development level, which is what, with Hiro made me think of it, although I think he's a little past that stage. But like, I know there's like a significant point in child development where it's like, you basically develop empathy. Like you realize that, there are other people in the world beside you and they have emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, you might be right around that age. I think it might be.
Probably. I feel like that's, regardless, that's definitely what's happening. If it's the age one should be developing that at or not.
Yeah.
And Kisa is helping him to try to be a more empathetic person, which is challenging. I like how he just kind of like self-narrates, like, I should have thought about this and now whatever, but it's too late. Which is, he's realizing the issues, and he's trying to take a step in the right direction.
I know, it's actually a short word. It's Sonder.
That's
the realization that
word.
each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own.
Yeah, that's true. So he's developing that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an interesting contrast that, like, we just had all this stuff with Kyo's father being like, he needs to be locked up and whatever, and then we see him out having fun and being a nice guy, Kyo out being empathetic and recognizing issues with Toru and stuff like that. It's, I don't know, it just goes to kind of, like, further differentiate him from this kind of, like, image that his father has of him, which is interesting. Yuki's been, I don't know, just like thinking back to some other chapters. I mean, Yuki's been going on. I mean, he's been dealing with these feelings about the tightly closed lid for like 20 chapters or something. Like this is like, because it was post True Form arc that he started feeling like that, and it's now we're in chapter that was like 34. Now we're in chapter 54, 55.
Yeah.
So it's finally coming up. There was no movement with the hat this time, but Hatsan didn't make an appearance this chapter, these 2 chapters.
I have the stationery.
And then Momiji was there, but he was also seemed like just kind of an instigator. Like, I feel like he was involved in doing stuff, but I feel like character-wise, he didn't even have, like, a big conversation with somebody like he did with Kyo in the last chapter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of a party to a bunch of things that were happening with, like, I feel like people like Toru and Yuki and Hiro and maybe I don't know, they're kind of like the center of these chapters, I feel like. Oh, and then of course like Akito and Toru in there, Akito and Shigure in their situation.
Yeah,
that was kind of a big deal. Yeah, I feel like they're kind of, those are the people who are kind of at the center, the characters that are at the center of like what's going on in these 2 chapters.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I think we can move on to spoilers.
Okay.
So yeah, next time we're going to talk about chapters 56 and 57. We'll be, I think we're staying at, no. It's still going to be summer, but we might have a beach diversion.
Yeah.
Next time. But yeah, we're going to be talking about chapters 56 and 57.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to reach out and send us questions and comments for the like kind of mid-series special that we're doing, or just, regular comments and questions as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We're back to talk about spoilers.
Woo.
Woo. It's the beach. I guess next time we're actually going to talk about Atori and Mayuko, right?
Yeah.
I forgot. I kind of saw the next couple of pages and I was like, ooh, and then had to come to record, so yeah.
Because Shigure's just like, I'm going to stir a bunch of shit up and then I'll go to the beach.
He's like, I have quote-unquote work to do, which is like stir up a bunch of shit and then leave.
Yep. It's like, I'm going to do my thing with Aikido, and then I'm gonna go hassle
like, later, bitches. Yeah.
Then I'll go to the beach.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a checklist that he made. It's like finish manuscript, set up a ruse for Michan about not finishing the manuscript, bother Aikido, set up Atori and Mayuko or whatever. Yeah.
Cause havoc.
Yeah.
That little scene we get with baby Yuki and Aikido, we get a more full flashback of later on.
Ooh, okay, I wasn't sure about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also during the his big trauma dump with Kakeru.
Trauma dump. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it was after he first tried to make friends with Kyo.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mm-hmm. And then Akito's like, no.
Yeah.
No, you can't be friends with anybody. This world is dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Akito's very menacing even as a child.
Yeah. Yeah, once I saw it, I was like, oh, I remember that more.
Akito and Shigure were so saucy.
Yeah, they were.
It was really dramatic, just like I said, like a film noir.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of forgot about this scene, but this is overtly sexual.
Yeah, definitely. So. I was like, interesting. I don't know how to talk about this.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We've had some scenes in the past where it's knowing where this goes, I can see that there's some undertones here, but
yeah,
these are overtones.
Yeah. Yes. It's text, not subtext.
Yes.
Super text.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that one way earlier on where... Oh, I probably should have called it out in the non-spoilers too, but, where we saw Shigure is, looking down at Aikido a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously, in bed together or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is just carrying that through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
To finally see that be happening. But so... Even darker than I remember, frankly.
One other little thing in that scene is the scene with Hattori and the woman is Hiro's mom.
Yeah, I was like, why do you want me to call this out? And then I was like, oh, right.
Yeah. Which I remembered that, but I only, this time reading it, I was like, oh, she's hanging out with Hattori because she just found out she's pregnant.
Yeah, exactly.
So, doing a doctor visit there.
No, it definitely looks nefarious.
Yeah.
But and Shigure would know that that's her too. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's a misdirection.
But yeah, I remembered
funny.
Oh, it turns out to be Hiro's mom or whatever. But I was like, oh, obviously that's related to the pregnancy thing later on. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because in 2 chapters, because Hiro's at the beach when she calls him and tells him. So yeah, it's very charming.
Yeah, Hiro's mom is great. I'm excited to see her.
I know. We haven't met her yet. This is the first time.
No. Got a glimpse of her.
We got some good parenting from Kazuma, though. I feel like I've actually, like, and also from Hana's parents in
Yeah.
the last couple of chapters. I feel like I'm, like, ready to deal with some shitty parents, because we got some, like, I feel like even Kyo's dad being shitty wasn't enough to, like, bring me down yet. We ended on a high note with Kazuma, so.
Yeah, I think that stuff helps soften Hiro too, while he's going through his little character.
Yeah, he still learned to take care of a baby that
Yeah.
can't, do anything for itself or whatever.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable.
One thing, like we were talking about how he didn't even seem to be like trying to be a dick when he was talking about Toru's parents and stuff. Where it's like he does have just kind of a thing where he like says like the thing no one wants to say or whatever, which like they say specifically later on. They're like, you have a knack for saying the thing everyone's avoiding or whatever.
Yeah.
When he says something, I think it's said too with like Kyo about to be locked up after high school or whatever.
Yes.
They were like talking around it, and then they're like, "Hero, really?" But
Yeah.
so it's kind of funny that that's just kind of a thing with him, even when he's become a more mature and empathetic person.
Well, I think he's kind of just like, I don't know, not like no nonsense, but he kind of was just like,
Yeah.
he's very direct. He's like, why do you have this photo and not this one? Yeah, still questioning everything, but just kind of like without, as if it's an objective question and not an emotional question.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a kid thing. I think it just shows how like immature he still is.
Yeah.
I think it's partly his personality, partly his age.
Child thing.
Yes, yeah.
Like noticing
a lot of
things without
questions.
quite the emotional development to recognize the meaning of what he's
Yes.
noticing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But then he can see so clearly the impact of
Yeah.
what he did. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like the whole thing where he's like, oh, all of this like emotionally complex stuff. I just realized that. I should have thought about that before. Too late, I guess.
Yeah. But it's okay because someone like Toru is a good person
Yeah.
to catch his son, I guess. As we've said many times. But yeah, then of course all of this, speaking of Toru, all of that sort of Hero's here to be a catalyst to get her to start thinking about and dealing with her like kind of issues with her mom.
Yeah.
And moving on from her death. Because it seems like on the outside, up until now, it seems like, it was tragic, but she's moving on. But I don't know. That's not really the case.
Yeah.
It's clearly not the case at this point because of her reaction to after he said that.
Yeah.
And other deeper issues that she has about her relationship with her father. Like, there's a reason why she doesn't have his photo. So.
Yeah. And we
But
get
that also makes her feel guilty.
Yeah, and aside from the like lack of photo, we also get a little hint of that with the image of Kyoko,
Yeah.
like at the funeral.
Yeah, when Kyoko was younger with her like long hair and her funeral dress. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has a strong association around, or strong like memories, I think, around that time as well. Right? And that impacts her into her adolescence. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. We'll all see. I mean, I always find that scene where she's sitting out on the porch, like awake really late at night, to be really striking. There's something about it that's very, being awake with your feels at night. I relate. So, I mean, I also relate to Hiro saying dumb shit too, but not exactly the same way.
I love that like despairing panel of him like slumped down to the ground.
He's like,
what did I
do?
Like,
I know. He's like, well, I know that I fucked up, but like I don't really get it. Like shit. So good. There's like a little sound effect too of him like flopping to the ground.
And how like half the panel is black. Closing in on him.
It's pretty good. Soon Kyo was in these chapters, and there was a cute moment when he like dragged Toru, but we're gonna get more cute Kyoru times. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
The beach, it's the summer of Kyoru. I mean,
yeah. Kyo's like doing pretty good lately. Like,
yeah,
it's been pretty chill.
Yeah, he only yelled at people a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess there's some good Yuki Toru moments too. Of course, there's like this time, and we had the time last time where he almost revealed the hat secrets to her.
Yeah.
I like the way, this is kind of, I guess, related to last time, but I like how he's like, he remembers her saying, or he latches onto her saying, like, it's a precious memory that he helped her and stuff like that. I feel like that also kind of helps him, like, move on or kind of grow and develop.
Yeah, because, like, when we get that whole flashback, like, we get the whole thing where it like makes him feel really good about himself. He's like, I helped somebody. It's like somebody's better off because I existed. Like
exactly. That's the whole thing that he's
so
fighting
the fact
at that
that
point.
she still like considers it such a important moment in her life is obviously deeply affecting for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the beginning where he's like, oh, I should stop like looking sad and spacing off because it'll make Toru worry. And then like after he gets like the fever, he's like, I made you worry anyway.
Yeah. It's okay. When he keeps trying to be like, I'm fine, guys, I'm gonna be fine, and they're all like, you're not fine. Like, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about Hiro seeing Rin though. We didn't talk about that yet in spoilers. Yeah, it's interesting how many times she's peppered in to this this one chapter with Hiro. She walks by and then he thinks about her when he sasses Haru for whatever reason.
My thought is that like he's just like associating their situations.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, Kisa got hurt by Aikido, and he also saw Rin get hurt by Aikido. So you can maybe like realize that there's like kind of a connection there, and so he's like kind of grumpy about
Haru relationship with Rin.
Well, Haru like scolding him about stuff. Well,
yeah, it's like takes one to know one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Haru. It has nothing to do because Haru just like scolds him like a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
And then Hiro is like, I can't remember exactly, but he's like, whatever, like it's none of your business. And it's like, okay, like, relax. But yeah, he's upset about Rin still, but he's kind of, so he's like taking it out on on Haru, but doesn't. I don't know how much he knows about. I don't know. He probably put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. Because it's like his situation, like you said.
Yeah, it's like his situation. He saw it happen, and I'm pretty sure he probably knew that.
He probably knew they were together.
Had a relationship.
Yeah. It seems, I don't know, I wonder how close Hiro and Rin were before that happened. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if they were just close because he's worried about her because he saw it, or if they were, I'm sure they were, like, was he closer with her than anybody else, I guess is the question.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's ever
I'm not sure.
made clear or not.
For sure the second thing or whatever that I said. But yeah, I don't know if they were
he's definitely like, become closer to her because he's saw what happened and is worried about her, which is pretty cute.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
Hiro has a lot of redeeming qualities. Apparently a bunch of people were complaining about him being bratty, which is fine. I accept. But, he's going to grow. It's fine.
He's one of the ones, like, there's lots of characters where since we've read it before, like, we're fond of them even when they're still really, really flawed because we know like, how much they're going to develop.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine later. It's okay.
Yeah, he becomes a fine young man.
Yes. Yeah. He grows, and then, he's one of the first ones to have
which I always respect. It's like he knows he's got issues.
It's true. He knows he's got issues, just doesn't know what to do with them yet. So
yeah, because he's tiny.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. It's fine, Hiro. You're going to be fine. It's interesting that later he's one of the first ones to have the curse break. I don't know. I feel like being empathetic and being like having that bond with somebody else is something that's important. Really very important to his character kind of development overall, up to that moment and including that moment. So
yeah,
I feel like Omiji was in like all these scenes, but he wasn't doing very much narratively. Like he kind of instigated them all going, and then he goes and talks to Kyo. But I feel like there isn't even a lot of Omiji Toru like ship teasing. Like there's a bunch of cute scenes of them together, but I didn't really notice any specific like you think that he would be taking this time, Momiji would be taking this time to like sass Kyo or something, but he didn't even really seem to be doing that. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't really see that hint in these chapters. I think there will be some stuff later, the beach stuff. Yeah. And they're going to have their secret Aikido encounter as well. But I think there's some romantic stuff between them before that too.
They do have the cute scene when everyone's going to race and they're just like chuckling to themselves and smiling together, which is cute. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
there is that, but not as overtly shippy as some other things we've seen. I think of them. Yeah.
And he does say Toru's always cute.
Yeah, Toru's always cute. Haru's like, we get to see bathing suit Toru. Yeah. Yuki, you're like, don't talk about it like that, which was great.
Yeah. And he's cute that it's we get the swimsuit that they bought
very
earlier.
Respectful. Yes. Finally. Only
The biggest reveal of the series.
It was the most important reveal, second only to the color of the hat.
Yeah.
Kisa, Yuki. I feel like we covered everything.
Yeah, I think I've got all my notes.
I didn't make notes. That's the secret to success. I mean, oh, the one note I made is that this is like foreshadowing, because Kyo also brings up this question about Toru's father later too, which kind of like segues into, I think, the story, their backstory, like Kyoko and Katsuya's backstory, and then of course Toru showing the photo of her father to Kyo later, and like admitting her kind of like feelings about her, you know, her, I don't know, her complex kind of and painful feelings about him and the three of their her and her two parents' relationship. So yeah, I don't know. Hiro just brings it up first because Hiro's not as polite and empathetic as Yuki and Kyo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's all my spoilers.
Yeah. They're like, oh my god, Hiro, you don't just ask people about their dead dads.
Yes. Great note to end on, I think.
Okay, they're just like picking up these beetles and they're just like crawling on their hands, like whatever. I know it's a thing there, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think like it's just that's a thing. I feel like some kids are like, bugs are cool. Like, I still feel like they would like pinch you though, wouldn't they? I don't know.
Well, not the ones they found.
Oh, okay. Oh, those are just the ones where it's like it doesn't pinch closed, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just got a sticky outy thing on their head.
Yeah.
The actual stag beetles have the pinchy part.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with them. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're probably just desensitized to like buggles and nature and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but I also like how Momichi's like, what is a Kimikichi? How do I find beetles? Like, it's really great. Like, I feel you.
He's just like, we're gonna catch stag beetles, and he's like, how do we catch stag beetles?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I think we're out of things to say, right? It's late. I'm tired. It's bedtime for me. Okay. Thank you all for listening. As always, you can send us ass and junk. You can like message us. We're good. We're connected to the social media, of course. Okay. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.